Robert De Niro is a legend. He is the Godfather. He is the raging bull. But at 82 years old, he isn't retiring on a yacht. He is working like a man half his age. Why? Because he has to. In a shocking court testimony, De Niro revealed the horror of his reality. "I am being forced to work at a pace that will kill me." While his ex-wife sells their home to fund a lavish lifestyle, he is drowning in demands. Is he a Hollywood king, or just a prisoner of his own success? This is the heartbreaking truth about the man who can't afford to stop. The sale of the dream. To understand the specific horror that Robert De Niro speaks of, we don't need to look at his movies. We need to look at the real estate listings in New York City. In March 2025, a transaction took place that signaled the end of an era. The sprawling Central Park West duplex, once the crown jewel of Robert De Niro's private life, was sold for $18 million. But it wasn't a triumph, it was a surrender. They had paid nearly $21 million for it decades ago. It was a fire sale, a final liquidation of a marriage that has become a financial disaster. Grace Hightower walks away with $6 million from the sale to buy her own dream home, telling reporters she wants to go crazy with new decor. Meanwhile, 82-year-old De Niro watches his legacy being liquidated to fund someone else's fantasies. This sale is the physical manifestation of the nightmare he revealed in court. We have to look back at the divorce proceedings to understand how he got trapped here. 5 years ago, when De Niro was 77, his lawyer Caroline Krauss delivered a statement that silenced the courtroom. She begged the judge for mercy, saying, "Mr. De Niro is 77 years old, and while he loves his craft, he should not be forced to work at this prodigious pace because he has to." She warned the court then, but now, at 82, the situation is even worse. The have to hasn't gone away. It has intensified. Why? Because the spending was and is out of control. The court heard allegations of spending that defy logic. Grace Hightower's average monthly budget was revealed to be staggering. She was reportedly spending $215,000 a month on credit cards, plus another $160,000 in cash. Combine that, and you are looking at nearly $400,000 every single month, just to live. In 2019 alone, she allegedly spent $1.6 million at a high-end jeweler, including buying a single diamond ring worth $1.2 million. She didn't ask, she just swiped. While De Niro was waking up at 4 a.m. to go to film sets in freezing conditions, standing on his feet for 14 hours a day, his money was bleeding out faster than he could earn it. The pressure finally broke him. In a moment of raw vulnerability that shocked the legal team, De Niro shouted across the courtroom, "I am not going to die while you spend my money." It wasn't greed speaking, it was fear. It was the fear of a man who realizes his life energy, his very breath, is being converted into handbags and diamonds. He isn't a partner anymore, he is a resource, a broken ATM machine that you kick until it spits out cash. This is the immediate horror of his life. He is on a treadmill that is moving too fast, and he knows if he steps off, everything collapses. The artist from Little Italy. To truly feel the tragedy of his current situation, we have to look back at who he used to be. We have to compare the myth to the man. We have to understand what he sacrificed. Robert De Niro wasn't born into this madness. He wasn't a product of the Hollywood machine. He was born in Greenwich Village, New York, in 1943. His parents were painters. They were bohemians. They were artists who cared about color and form, not bank accounts and status symbols. They lived for the work, not the reward. De Niro grew up in a world where integrity was the only currency that mattered. He lived in cold water flats. He walked the streets of New York when it was gritty and dangerous. As a young man, he was obsessive. He was a monk of his craft. When he prepared for The Godfather Part II, he didn't just read the script. He lived in Sicily. He learned the specific dialect of the region so perfectly that locals thought he was native. When he prepared for Taxi Driver, he actually got a taxi license. He drove a cab in New York City for 12-hour shifts. He picked up passengers who had no idea they were sitting behind the greatest actor of his generation. He soaked in the grime and the loneliness of the city. When he did Raging Bull, he gained 60 pounds of fat to play the older Jake LaMotta. He destroyed his body for the art. He labored for breathing. He felt the shame of the weight. He didn't do it for the money. He didn't do it to buy diamond rings. He did it because he believed in the work. He believed that acting was a sacred duty to the truth. He was the actor's actor. He was private. He was shy. He hated interviews. He hated the red carpet. He famously said, "I have the right to be left alone." He wanted his work to speak for him. He wanted to disappear into the roles. And for 30 years it worked. He built a legacy that is untouchable. He defined masculinity, vulnerability, and rage for American cinema. He was the gold standard. But somewhere along the way, the artist got trapped. The world changed around him. The industry changed. And his own life became complicated. He started acquiring things. Not just roles, but responsibilities. He co-founded the Tribeca Film Festival to save his city after 9/11. It was a noble cause, but it was also a business. He invested in Nobu restaurants. He bought hotels. He built an empire. But empires are hungry beasts. They need to be fed. And more importantly, he married. His first marriage to Dion Abbott ended in 1988. Then came a long relationship with Toukie Smith. And then, in 1997, he met Grace Hightower. She was a flight attendant. She seemed grounded. She seemed real. She wasn't an actress. She wasn't part of the system. They married, divorced in 1999, fighting a bitter custody battle over their son Elliot. But then, in a twist that would seal his fate, they reconciled. They renewed their vows in 2004. De Niro, a man of loyalty, a man who believes in second chances, thought he could make it work. He thought he could build a family that mirrored the stability he never had as a child of divorce. He signed a prenup. He thought he was protected. He didn't know that by saying "I do" the second time, he was signing a contract that would cost him his peace for the rest of his life. He was the artist who wanted to live in the shadows, watching the world. But he married into a lifestyle that demanded the spotlight. He wanted to make art. His life required him to make money. And slowly, the artist began to die, and the employee was born. He traded his soul for stability, but he ended up with neither. The golden cage of excess. There is a term in psychology called lifestyle creep. It means that as you earn more, you spend more, until you are trapped in a cycle of earning just to maintain the cage you built. Robert De Niro is the ultimate victim of lifestyle creep. By the 2000s, the golden cage was complete. He wasn't just supporting a wife, he was supporting an entire ecosystem. Children, stepchildren, grandchildren, staff, assistants, lawyers, publicists, house managers, drivers. The overhead of being Robert De Niro was astronomical. It cost millions just to wake up in the morning. And Grace Hightower, according to reports, embraced this lifestyle with a hunger that terrified him. She became a socialite. She became a philanthropist. She needed to be seen at the Met Gala. She needed to be seen in the Hamptons. "I want to get my own space and go crazy," she told reporters recently about her new home search. She wanted a dream world, and Robert was the one paying for the paint. We started to see a change in his career. The choices became different. The man who was picky, who only worked with Scorsese and Coppola, started saying yes to everything. Rocky and Bullwinkle. Dirty Grandpa. Little Fockers. Critics were cruel. They asked, "Why is De Niro doing this trash? Has he lost his talent?" They mocked him. They made memes about him. "He's phoning it in," they said. "He doesn't care anymore." But they were wrong. He cared deeply. It killed him to do bad work. But he didn't have the luxury of waiting for the perfect script. He had bills to pay. He had a machine to feed. There is a heartbreaking dignity in this that the critics missed. He sacrificed his artistic reputation to provide for his family. He swallowed his pride. He went to set, put on silly costumes, made bad jokes, and took the paycheck. He did it because he is a man of the old school, a provider. A man doesn't complain. A man pays the bills. Even if the bills are for things he hates. Even if the bills are for a lifestyle he doesn't enjoy. Insiders say that De Niro himself lives remarkably simply. He likes quiet dinners. He likes reading the paper. He wears the same cap and jacket for years. He isn't flashy. He doesn't need the yachts. He doesn't need the private islands. But he was surrounded by people who did. He became the engine of a machine that consumed cash. And the machine had no brakes. When the pandemic hit in 2020, the tragedy deepened. Nobu restaurants closed. The hotels were empty. The film industry shut down. His cash flow dried up overnight. But the spending didn't stop. The machine didn't care about the virus. Grace allegedly demanded that her credit card limit be raised from $50,000 a month to $100,000. She argued that her lifestyle shouldn't suffer just because the world was ending. De Niro had to borrow money to pay his taxes. Imagine the humiliation. The greatest actor alive, borrowing money because his wife couldn't stop shopping during a global crisis. He told the court with a voice cracking from stress, "I don't have the cash. I'm not printing money." It was a plea for mercy. It was a plea for sanity. But there was no mercy to be found. The court system moves slowly, and credit card bills move fast. The box office bomb, Alto Knights. This brings us to the present day, the crisis phase. Robert De Niro is 82 years old. Look at his face in recent photos. Really look at him. The public image shows a legend at a premiere, smiling, waving, accepting Lifetime Achievement Awards. But the truth shows a man who is exhausted down to his marrow. His eyes are heavy with bags that makeup can't hide. His skin is papery. His walk is stiff. At 82, most men are enjoying their grandchildren. They are napping in the afternoon. They are reading books. They are worrying about their blood pressure, not their box office numbers. But De Niro is still grinding. He recently starred in a movie called The Alto Knights, released in March 2025. The movie was a disaster. De Niro played two roles, two mob bosses. It was a gimmick. The budget was nearly $50 million. The global box office? Less than $10 million. It was a box office bomb. Critics tore it apart. They called it tired, derivative, sad. They said De Niro looked old. They said he was parodying himself. But why did he do it? Why would a legend agree to a project that looked doomed from the start? Because he needed the check. His lawyers stated clearly in court. The income from his next two films will be devoted to paying off his tax debt. He is working to pay for the past. Every scene in The Alto Knights, every line of dialogue was a mortgage payment. It was an alimony payment. It was a tax payment. He isn't making art anymore. He is making installments. The audience sees a bad movie. De Niro sees a bill paid. And the pressure isn't just financial, it's physical. At 82, his body is tired. In 2021, he tore a muscle in his leg while filming Killers of the Flower Moon. He was in excruciating pain. He couldn't walk, but he came back to work. Why? Because production delays cost money, and he can't afford to lose money. He forced his 78-year-old body to heal faster than nature intended, because the payroll doesn't wait for recovery. This is the microscopic description of his life. It is waking up in a hotel room in Oklahoma, back aching, legs stiff, wondering where you are. It is looking in the mirror and seeing an old man, but knowing you have to go out and perform like a young one. It is checking your phone and seeing messages from lawyers about the sale of the apartment, about the $6 million he still owes Grace from the sale proceeds. It is sitting in a makeup chair, closing your eyes for 5 minutes, wishing you could just stay there and sleep forever, just let the darkness take you for a while. But then the assistant director knocks on the door. "Mr. De Niro, we're ready for you." And he stands up. He puts on the suit. He becomes the character, because Robert De Niro always shows up. He has no choice. The new burden of love. In 2023, at the age of 79, De Niro shocked the world again. He welcomed a new baby, Gia, with his girlfriend Tiffany Chen. The world asked, a father at 79, is he crazy? But maybe it wasn't craziness. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe, after years of a marriage that felt like a transaction, he just wanted something pure. He wanted a chance to get it right. He wanted to feel love that wasn't about credit card limits or jewelry. But a baby brings new pressure, immense pressure. Now he isn't just working for his ex-wife. He is working for a daughter who will start college when he is 100 years old. The math is terrifying. He knows he won't be there to see her grow up. He knows he won't see her graduate. He knows he is leaving her behind. So he has to build a nest egg for her now. He has to work harder, faster, longer. The clock is ticking louder for him than for anyone else in Hollywood. He also has to navigate the complex dynamics of his older children. He has 7 children in total. There are reports of him supporting his son Aaron's transition to Aaron. He is trying to be a good father to all of them. He is trying to support their dreams, their lives, their identities. But being a good father costs money. He is the patriarch of a massive, expensive clan, and he is the only one generating the income. He has accepted that he is the Sisyphus of Hollywood. He pushes the boulder up the hill every day. The boulder is heavy with gold and expectations, and every night it rolls back down. But he wakes up the next morning and pushes it again. Not because he loves the rock, but because he loves the people standing at the top of the hill who rely on him. His girlfriend Tiffany recently revealed that shortly after giving birth, she suffered from Bell's palsy. Her face was paralyzed. De Niro had to care for a newborn and a sick partner, all while filming, all while fighting his ex-wife in court. The weight on this man is unimaginable. The moral verdict. Robert De Niro's story is a cautionary tale dressed in designer clothes. It teaches us that success is not a shield against suffering. You can be the most talented man in the world, the most celebrated artist, and still end up trapped by the people you allowed into your heart. It exposes the ugly truth of the trophy wife culture. Society tells men that the reward for success is a beautiful woman who spends your money, but De Niro shows us the price of that transaction. The price is your freedom. The price is your rest. The price is your peace of mind. He won the court case. Grace didn't get half, but she got the apartment money. She got the $1 million a year for life. She is going crazy with cobalt blue paint in her new home, dreaming of her new life. And Robert is going to work. We look at him and we feel pity. Yes, but we should also feel respect, not for the actor, but for the man. He didn't run away. He didn't declare bankruptcy to escape his obligations. He stood in court, humiliated but upright, and said, "I will pay." He honored his commitments, even the ones that were unfair. He is a man of his word in a town of liars. So the next time you see a poster for a bad Robert De Niro movie, don't laugh. Don't say, "Why is he doing this? Why doesn't he retire?" Say, "Thank you," because he is doing it for his family. He is doing it because he is a provider. He is sacrificing his legacy to secure their future. And that is a greater act of love than any movie he ever made. What do you think? Is the court system unfair to men like De Niro? And do you think Grace Hightower deserves the lifestyle she demands? Let us know in the comments below. This is The Seventh Lens. We see the sacrifice behind the success. Thank you for watching.